Okay, so I clearly just woke up, but that's okay. Let's get into it. So, when I was a kid, I used to love to read. I would read voluntarily all day. I'd pick it over watching TV and doing other things. Like, I love to read. And as I got older, I stopped reading as much because I felt like a nerd. And I didn't want to be viewed as a nerd. And I think that was one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made. And I don't, I wouldn't say I blame myself for it because I was just like a kid being self conscious and it was just lame. Like, I was just making a lame decision because I was self conscious. But now I'm older, I know better. But yeah, I say all that to say that I'm going to get back into reading a lot more, especially now that I'm trying to develop as an individual and as a business owner. And yeah, you have to read, you have to constantly take in uh, knowledge to improve yourself, or at least perspectives, because it's not always just knowledge, because I don't take everything every book says um, word for word, but you can always get some insight into a new perspective. So yeah, I'm actually gonna start reading a lot more. Nothing unrealistic for me, like a book a day or anything like that, because I just know I'm not gonna do that. So, um, probably a book a month, like one book a month, and I'll start that off with this book, Emotional Intelligence for Sales Success by Colleen Stanley. Just because, so I was supposed to do a class assignment where I get a book and then I review it and blah blah blah, but I didn't do the class assignment, um, because I waited to the last minute to order the book and it came in like the day before the report was due, and I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely not gonna finish this. So now I have this book and it's relatable to what I do. So I figured I might as well read it anyway instead of returning it. And yeah, so I'm gonna read that and see how that is. Should be interesting. I hope. And yeah, and then we're just gonna go from there. I mean, I'm not gonna limit it to just sales and marketing books because I feel like that can get really repetitive. Like, I'd like to learn something else from a different perspective in a different industry or area of life and then apply it to whatever I'm doing professionally or personally, because it's not just for business. And also, like, fiction books as well. Like, sometimes you just need a good story, I believe. Like, I always love fiction. Fiction is the shit. You can do anything in fiction. Like, you're not bound by the rules of reality. Fiction books, you can go. And I feel like that's, like, good for your creative juices, is to just take a step out of reality for a second and then step back in. It's nice. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and read this book, and then I'm gonna let you guys know in the other half of this video, um which will hopefully be a lot sooner than later. Of course, I have different clothes on. I'll have clothes on. And hopefully I'll be more awake when I do the next part of the video. So yeah. Alright, so I'm back, a lot more awake this time. Haircut, as you can see, um, and a better angle, actually. And hopefully less groggy. The first part of this video was very groggy. I don't even know I recorded that, but I'm definitely not re-recording it. So, it is now January 29th, the end of January. That first part of that video was recorded like December 12th. So it took me a lot more than a month to read this book. Not because it was a lot. Clearly, it's only like 200 pages, but because I was being a lazy fuck and just spending my time watching Netflix for like the past 3 weeks. But anyway, so I finished the book last night, and it's actually really, really, really good. Um, of course, again, it's called Emotional Intelligence for Sales Success. Um, I didn't really know what to expect out of it. Like, I kind of knew the general direction of what the book was going to be talking about. But oftentimes in selling, and this is applicable if you're a small business owner or if you're just working in sales or anything like that, right? So, a lot of times in selling, when they train you, they teach you, like conversational strategies on how to get people to say yes, right? How to close a deal with a yes, right? This kind of supports that, but from a different standpoint of not necessarily conversational strategies. Like, how do I say this? They are conversational strategies, but not like a organize your questions in this manner to get this response, right? It's more so understanding yourself and understanding who's in front of you and being present and aware of your of 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 what you're offering, of what they're buying, of just what type of people you are and they are and the people you're dealing with are. So some really key notes. I just took down a page of like things that stood out to me as strong points throughout the book. Um, I'll go over them now. So the main theme of the book, in my words, is controlling your emotions during an interaction, a sales interaction, to navigate the sales call to a close without dropping your price or being intimidated or rushing to just end the meeting because you don't have the answers they're looking for or you don't know what questions to ask. So you're just rushing to a close to get out of the room. Because those are knee-jerk responses to resistance or the perception of resistance that's actually just simple questions or propositions. So the theme of the book, in shorter words, even shorter words, is being aware of your emotions and controlling them to get through the sales call, right? So 3 key qualities I picked up on from that were self-awareness, assertiveness, and self-confidence. So self-awareness is being aware of like the triggers, how you respond to things, how the buyer wants you to respond to things, um, just being just being aware of, like if you get triggered, if you go into fight or flight mode, if a buyer says, "Hey, this is too expensive," you can control your emotions and be like, "Okay, da da da," rework the value proposition or understand why they think it's too expensive. And another key thing that's on the bottom of this page but applies to that directly is be willing to walk away if they can't afford your price, right? Which is something that I'm not good with yet. Just because I just haven't learned to be willing to walk away, but I'm definitely going to practice that in the future. Assertiveness, telling the buyer what you need. I feel like assertiveness is a great lesson to learn in any part of life, right? You have to tell people what you need because otherwise, how else do you expect to get things from people that you need from people? You need to tell them what they need so they can give it to you, right? So telling the buyer what you need. I need X amount of time. I need X amount of dollars. I need you to be involved in this area, right? So telling the buyer what you need Also being assertive on your price point works back into navigating the conversation. And self-confidence, right? I notice a lot of times I don't, like, when I'm cold calling or if I'm in a meeting, I don't exert a level of self-confidence. So what that does is, if you're not self-confident, right, and you're selling a product or yourself, right, then how is the buyer gonna pick up the vibe that they should be confident? You kind of teach them how they should feel about the product or your service, right? So if you're coming off as timid and unsure, then they're going to feel timid and unsure about your product or service. So practicing self-confidence is a really big thing, because you bring that to the table. You bring that energy with you. And that's also something that I am working on practicing a lot in, like, all areas of life, because I mean, just confidence brings you a long way, and I know I need to improve my confidence. Another key point, this is more like strategy, is asking your customer or your buyer or your prospect the 3 W's, which is why is this a problem? What is the current impact of this problem, right? And what, again, is the future impact of this problem? So why is this a problem? This is a thing that's happening, but why is it a problem for you? Is it costing you money? What's happening, right? What is the current impact? Who loses their job if this problem doesn't get solved? Are you not making as much money? Like, are you losing money if this problem doesn't get solved? What is the future impact? Do you lose your job? Will the company fail? Like, if I don't call enough companies and keep my pipeline full, right, for my advertising agency, then if I slack on customer attention and I lose accounts, then the long-term impact of that is that I'll be out of business, right? Because I won't be I'm not calling any clients to set up any meetings, to sign new clients, to make money. You get what I'm saying? So those are the 3 W's. And also asking the tough questions. This is a really good section in the book that I feel like is really important. And out of all the YouTube videos I've watched and everything, like, people never really go into this part, which is, like, really, like, okay, and I can speak from experience, right? Because this is something that I've done and that I do, right? A lot of us are so driven to just get the sale that we don't do as much qualifying as we should. So ask your buyer, ask your possible client, your prospective client, the tough questions that make them think, to see if they really need your service, right? And really qualify them, and see if they're even going to be a good customer for you. And in turn, they're going to have to really think about the implications of what happens if they don't go with your service, right? So ask the tough questions is something that Colleen Stanley said in one of the chapters. I think it was one of the later chapters, like 7 or 8. But anyway, she's like, ask the questions that make their brain hurt, right? So who loses their job if this problem continues? So this is kind of aligning with the 3 W's. What is the cost of doing nothing? How would you rate your organization on accountability and execution? And I feel like that last one especially is key in my field, because if I'm generating leads, and that's my main job, right, is generating leads through paid advertising, then, are these leads going to go to nothing and then I get the blame for it? or are you guys accountable and can execute the close, right? So yeah, these are just like huge points that went over in the book, and I thought they were super helpful to me, so I'm just putting them out there. They might be helpful to you. Basically, control your emotions, be self-aware, assertive, and self-confident. um ask ask your prospective client, why is this a problem and what are the future implications of this problem. Ask them the questions that they should be asking themselves, even if they're not vocalizing it to you, right? Have that conversation with them. Be a partner to them, not just a vendor. Another key point. And also, the last point that really just hit home for me was lose the need to be liked and get comfortable with conflict. That is like, that's like so beyond me, but like it's something that I feel like would be really helpful to me, was losing the need to be liked. Because the need to be liked kind of feeds into the fear of rejection, and when you submit to the fear of rejection, you throw out like you throw out all the stuff that you learn from books like this, and psychology of selling, and all, like you throw out all that knowledge for the fear, right? To avoid that fear of rejection. And you also decrease your own value. You undervalue yourself by submitting to the fear of rejection. So losing the need to be liked and getting used to conflict, like getting used to people saying no and giving you trouble, and it's not as smooth of an onboarding process, or it didn't work out well the first time, or dealing with angry clients. Like, that's something that I'm so afraid of. But like, that just one sentence, just like it just illuminated the idea for me of, okay, yeah, like I need to detach these personal fears from my business decisions, and like embrace the conflict and embrace not being liked in the journey to build a successful and respected and embrace the journey to build a successful and respected business, right? So yeah, this is like the quick run through of the main points that I learned through this book. I would definitely recommend getting it. It's like, it's $18. You can get it on like Amazon, Barnes Noble, wherever you buy your books at. But cheat code, if you go on Amazon when you're about to order it and select condition, you can buy it as used, and you get like books super cheap that way, like half price. And it's and this came in really good condition, and this is, yeah, my video cut off because of storage. But yeah, you buy it used, you get it like half off. This came in pretty good condition. I ordered a microeconomics book like that before, and it's like super convenient, super cheap. So yeah, appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'll see you on the next video.